So if you own the HC6XX headphones, or if you're planning to buy them, then look no further than the iFi Signature Set 6XX for your DAC and amp needs, as this DAC and amp combo was specifically made for the HC6XX. All right, so let's get right into it and unbox this set, and I'll give you guys my first impressions of it. All right, so here we have the ZEN DAC Signature V2, and on the right we have the ZEN CAN Signature 6XX, and in the middle here we have the iFi balanced cable to connect both of them together and give you that balanced connection. All right, so first let's start off with unboxing the DAC. All right, so here's the retail box, not much to it. Let's go ahead and open it up. Looks like we have an instruction manual. They do provide you with an RCA cable for single-ended connections. And here is a USB 3.0 cable, and iFi, if you're listening, please make these cables a little bit longer. They're kind of short. And surprisingly, they even provide you a power adapter, which is really nice because the Zen DAC V2 that I previously reviewed did not have a provided power adapter. And if you saw my review on that, I did mention that having a power adapter on the DAC makes a huge difference. And here we go up close. This is the iFi Zen DAC Signature. And as you can see, there is a blue navy color on it, which kind of is supposed to match the Massdrop HC666 Navy's color. So that's kind of cool that they put some thought into it. But as you see here in the front, all that you have is a volume dial. Unlike the ZEN CAN V2, it has a built-in amp, so it's gonna have a lot more in the front here. But this is just a DAC. That means you are gonna need an external amplifier. You can't just use it by itself. You do need an amplifier. But just keep that in mind if you buy this product solo and not as a set. But the set, of course, includes the ZEN CAN, so you'll have no problems there. So the volume knob feels very nice, made out of metal, nice plus. You do have some rubber feet at the bottom. So let's go over the connections you see in the back here. First off, on the left side, you have the balanced 4.4mm connection. This is to hook up your external amplifier or powered speakers. Next, you have a switch for variable and fixed, depending on your needs. You have your single-ended RCA connections here for output. Okay, so let's go over all the connections you have in the back of the Zen DAC here. You do have, for output, a balanced 4.4mm connection, as well as an RCA single-ended connection for output. You do have a switch here to switch between variable and fixed depending on your needs. As far as input goes, you have a USB 3.0 connection. And finally, you have a DC 5-volt connection for connecting the power adapter. Now, before we move forward with the rest of the video, I would like to thank iFi for sending out this ZEN Signature Set 6XX for my review. I appreciate it a lot. And just know that iFi does not influence my video at all. All thoughts and opinions on this video are my own, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the video. All right, so before we move over to the Zen CAN, let me tell you a little bit more about this DAC. It has a differential balanced circuit design. It can deliver bit-perfect PCM audio, 32-bit, 384 kilohertz, as well as native DSD up to DSD 256, can do DXD, and is a full MQA decoder, so if you use Tidal Music Service, this will work out great for you. And first impressions of the build quality is that it's very good. For what you pay for, this is very good. You see the brushed aluminum in the front here. The enclosure is all metal here. Just very cool design. I like it. I like the volume knob. I like the design. It's not too big. This can easily sit on your desk. Can be used with your laptop or desktop PC. And best of all, you can stack the Zen DAC and Zen CAN right on top of each other. Big space saver. As far as the inputs and outputs go, for output, it gives you pretty much everything you need. For input, it would have been nice to see an optical SPDIF connection. Would have been nice to be able to hook up my PS4 gaming console to this. But for a budget DAC such as this, I think you get what you pay for. All right, so that was a look at the Zen DAC. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ZEN CAN Signature 6XX. All right, and here's the iFi ZEN CAN Signature 6XX, specifically made for the Massdrop Sennheiser HC6XX headphone. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what you get in the package. All right, so you get an instruction manual. They provide you with a single-ended RCA cable, and they also provide you with a 3.5mm to 6.3mm adapter, so you convert your 3.5mm headphones over to the 6.33 that the Zen CAN accepts. And wow, look at this beefy power adapter that iFi provides. Snap that in. Has a cool little design in the back. Just says iFi with a bunch of little slots here. Wow, pretty interesting power adapter here. So of course, this is going to provide you more power for your Zen CAN amplifier. And here's the iFi Zen CAN Signature 6XX. Okay, let's take a closer look. Just as before, we have that navy blue color that matches the Zen CAN. So it's going to be a nice set. It's got that same dark brushed metal finish in the front. One thing I did notice right off the bat was there's this rattle you hear, but don't worry, nothing loose is inside. It's these buttons here. They're kind of a little bit loose. I don't know, I guess by design, and it does provide a little rattle. I mean, you're not gonna be moving this around on your desk, it's gonna stay on your desk, so probably not a big deal, but if you do hear that rattle, just know that it's these buttons and not something loose in circuitry inside. All right, so the Zen Can does have lots of buttons and connections in front, so let's take a look starting from the left. On the left, of course, you have the power button here. Then you have an input button, which switches between the balance 4.4 millimeter connection in the back, as well as a single-ended 3.5 millimeter connection, and then the third one would be the standard RCA connections that are single-ended in the back. So next you have a gain button here, which is really nice. So depending on how much power your headphones or IEMs need, you can control it with this button. So it goes in 6 dB increments, starts at 0 dB, 6 dB, 12 dB, and finally 18 dB. Again, you get the nice metal volume dial here. To the right of the volume dial, you have the 6.33 millimeter single-ended connection for your standard headphones. And then you have the 4.4 millimeter balance connection for balanced headphones. And next, it looks like you have a button that combines a few features. So depending on how many times you press it, so you can switch on or off the HC6X feature, as well as the X-Bass feature, and I'm gonna talk about those features in just a bit. So what the ZEN CAN Signature 6XX adds is an active EQ profile that creates a specific EQ curve that suits the Massdrop HC6XX headphones, so it's just gonna make them sound that much better. And you can switch the setting on and off. So if you have other headphones that are not HC6XX headphones, you can definitely use those and turn off this feature and still use the iFi ZEN CAN just like any other amplifier. And iFi added a feature called X-Bass, which is an analog processing mode that widens the soundstage and imaging of music. So when you turn on that setting by pressing the button, it's gonna add some space to your music. So if it sounds like the music is coming like right inside your head, it's gonna create some space and give you an extended soundstage and imaging, so it doesn't sound so close to your ears. Okay, now let's talk a little bit more about the circuitry and the power output of the ZEN CAN. So it has a circuitry that is balanced, symmetrical, dual mono design. As far as how much power this baby can output, we're talking about 7.2 volts of power into 32 ohms from the single-ended connection. So this is a single-ended connection right here. And for the balanced connection here, we're talking about a whopping 15 volts of load into 300 ohms. All right, let's take a look at the back of the unit for inputs and outputs. Okay, in the back of the ZEN CAN, on the left side, you have the balanced 4.4 millimeter connection. This is where you would connect the Zen DAC using the included iFi 4.4 millimeter balanced cable. Then you have a single-ended 3.5 millimeter connection. They do not include a cable for this, so just keep that in mind. To the right of that, you have the last input here, which is your standard single-ended RCA connections. And you can also send output from the ZEN CAN here using the balanced 4.4 millimeter connection. Finally, you have a 5-volt DC power connector right here on the right. Okay, finally, let's take a look at what brings the Zen DAC and ZEN CAN together, and that's this iFi 4.4 to 4.4 millimeter balanced cable. So I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for you guys. And here is the iFi balanced cable. It's a pretty beefy cable with beefy connectors here. And the one thing I like is that the cable is very malleable, so it's not stiff. I hate stiff cables when you're connecting a DAC and amp, so they really thought this out. And it's not too long, it's just long enough to connect both the ZEN CAN and Zen DAC together. It looks like a really good high quality cable. And here is what the ZEN Signature 6XX set looks like when it's stacked together. Really nice. So you get the DAC, the amp, as well as the cable, so you get some cost savings there. Otherwise, you would have to purchase this cable separately. And trust me when I say that you get what you pay for with this set. It may seem like a lot, but think about it, you're getting a nice quality DAC and amp with lots of power, as well as a balanced cable to connect both of them. I think that's a pretty good deal, guys. So I'm gonna take a quick listen to it, give you guys my first impression of the sound. So yeah, this set is exciting for those of you who own or plan to purchase the HC6XX headphones. I think it's a great pairing, but I'll be right back with my first sound impressions of it. So quite a bit of time has passed since I originally unboxed the ZEN Signature Set for the 6XX, and I do have some things to say about the sound quality of it. So if you do own a Massdrop or Drop HC6XX, the iFi ZEN Signature Set 6XX is definitely a contender for you to get for your DAC amp. I think the ZEN Signature 6XX set does a great job of pairing iFi's house sound with that of the HC6XX, and it can even help improve the sound of the HC6XX. So I do want to mention the gain switch on the ZEN CAN with the 0 dB, 6 dB, and 12 dB and so on really helped with getting more power out of the ZEN CAN for the HC6XX headphones. So if you need a little bit more oomph to your sound, you could definitely play around with the gain setting. Now I do want to talk about the X Space feature that is included with the ZEN CAN, and what this does, it actually adds some more soundstage. If you use the HC6XX headphones, you know that the soundstage is not very wide, so it's kind of a good idea that they did include the X Space feature on this, and it does indeed add some soundstage, and it doesn't sound artificial in any way. It sounds very natural, so they actually did a good job on it. I don't really use these features typically, but if you do want to extend the soundstage on your HC6XX headphones, you could definitely use a feature here and accomplish that. So what about this custom active EQ that iFi has included with the ZEN CAN? It's been designed to be paired with the HC6XX headphones. So I found that it actually works really well. I think, in my opinion, that it makes the HC6XX sound better. The sound just sounded a little bit smoother and more enjoyable to listen to for long listening sessions. So even though I usually don't use features such as the X Space feature on iFi products, I would actually keep the HC6XX active EQ on just because I think it does improve the sound. So it was interesting to see that a company would design a DAC and amp to be used for a specific headphone. I have never really seen this before other than with electrostatic headphones. And I think iFi did a really good job here with the DAC and amp included in this set. And they also include the bounce cable to connect them both at a reasonable price. And the added feature of having a custom EQ setting already included with your amplifier was definitely a plus, because I'm one of those people that doesn't like to mess around with EQ settings. Every time I try to EQ my headphones, it just ends up being a bad experience, and the sound actually sounds worse than the original. So if you don't want to think about it and just have an easy button to press to just make your headphones sound better, this is where the Signature Set comes in, and this is the product for you. The fact that this set includes separate components, you can easily upgrade the amplifier in the future if you wanted to, because the HC6XX headphones have been known to scale well with higher end amplifiers. Alright, so that does it for my review of the ZEN Signature Set 6XX. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video.